How's it going, my fellow Flesh and Blood players? So, today I have a deck tech for you. It's an Assassin's class. I know I do a lot of Ninja, and now I'm dipping my toes into some Assassins. I'm going with Uzuri here. And this is a very interesting build. I wouldn't say it's competitive, but if you were looking to change things up for a little bit at your armories, it can win a few. I wouldn't say that you will win armories with it, but it is a very fun build, and I'll kind of show you the things you can do with it. But we're going to start with our typical Uzuri pieces. So of course we have the Spider's Bite here. I also have the Scale Peeler. And I also have the Orbiclass and Nerve Scalpel for the weapons. I don't think I'll be using the new weapon from Heavy Hitters just because it's kind of a silver thing, and even though I'm trying to produce as much silver as possible, when you're not using contracts, it's a little hard to do that. But as far as my equipment goes, I have the full armor kit, or full armor kit. I have the full silver kit here. So we're running the Mask of Perdition, Redback Shroud, Black Tech Whispers, and the Shriek Razors. There are definitely better options here for you. Like you could use Flick Knives instead, which would be better. You could also run a Tunic instead of the Shroud. And with this build too, the Mask of Perdition isn't a big deal, but I just like having the full armor kit, and I think it's just a lot of fun. Alright, now we'll go with what I consider the core of the build. We're starting with 2 pummels. This is something that I could switch out and maybe go to 1 or maybe none at all, but it's just really good with some of the 2 cost reactions that you do. Because with Uzuri, it's an attack reaction. Any card with stealth, you can activate her ability and swap it with any other attack action card from your hand. And something that you don't see too often, I'm running 3 Promise of Plenty. So when you have stuff like Death Touch, I'm also running a couple other things that come from Arsenal, including this. So this helps out really well for that. And most of the time your opponent already has something in Arsenal, so it's only going to be benefiting you, and it gives Assassins some go again. Now I'm running 3 Fate Foreseen. This kind of goes with the theme that I have, which you'll be seeing in a little bit. But this helps with a 4 block because I do have a lot of things that only block for 2. So this kind of helps me out in the blocking aspect. Plus you can kind of help out with your draws. And it also can play into the Promise of Plenty as well to know what's in the top of your deck. I'm running Codex of Bloodrot. With the Frailty, it does come from Graveyard. This kind of helps out having like Death Touches or the Promise of Plenty in your hand that you can drop in Arsenal and actually use the Arsenal buff that you need for it. And you also will get your Ponder Bloodpox for the opponent, which is never a bad thing. I have 3 Blue Shred. I'm not running a lot of assassin attack actions in here. But it is a blue pitch for 3. I could swap that with something else, but having that 3 block and blue pitch with the small benefits, it is pretty nice. Now I'm running Stab Wound. I mean, it's pretty simple. Near end game, you can use it. It also blocks 3, and it's an assassin action as well. Now I'm running 3 Razor Reflexes. This just helps for you to get go again on your one cost and such. Can help you pull that Promise of Plenty trigger and some of the other cards I have as well. Now pretty much what's expected is I'm running all 9 isolates. So what's really nice about this is that it gives your swap out card Dominate, because you come out with this first, forces them to only use 1 card from hand, and then you could throw out your big boys, and has a very good chance of rolling over because of that. And it is the only stealth cards I'm running in this deck. I have 3 shakedowns. It's Uzuri specialization. The on hit allows you to reveal their hand with the chosen color that you pick, and you can banish it, which you can also react with pummels and then the stuff from the silver kit as well with this to activate that trigger. And I'm running 3 sensors. Really helps with the razor reflex. Because of stuff like shakedown, this can really help out seeing what their hand is, and you can name that card. I think it's a good card. There are some better cards out there that can swing for 6 rather than 5. But this deck is more built to make you become a better player. So this is a really good card to have for that. And I know I mentioned it quite a bit there. I have 3 Death Touches. This really helps with your Codex of Blood Rot, the Promise of Plenties, and you can do the swap out with this as well. So that's kind of the main core. What I'm about to show now is kind of the theme here, which is the Everfest Carnival. This is kind of the main build of the deck, and then if you wanted to use a different hero, you can swap out all the other cards I showed you, and you can keep this as kind of the core set of it. So we're starting with 3 Mischievous Meeps. Really great with the Razor Reflex. And then if you're playing against any mechs, you can steal items, but it's the draw a card that's really big, and it helps you get a wider turn. Then I have 3 Bingos here. It isn't the best card. What's really nice is that it is a 1 for 5, can block 3. If any more whimsical kind of cards or anything comes out, this is an option for me to swap out. Then I have 3 Life of the Parties, which also means I have 3 Crazy Brews here as well. This is kind of a tricky thing to pull off. It does help when you have the Crazy Brews first and then draw into that later. But you can also swap out with Uzuri's ability with this as well, which isn't very ideal, but it is something that you can do, and then you can pummel with it later. Sorry, there's like a little hair. It's one of those, like, once you see it, you kind of want to get rid of it. There we go. Alright, and the one that's really interesting, I have pick a card, any card. I have 3 reds and 3 blues at the moment. I am thinking about maybe swapping this out for Whisper of the Oracle, which will still keep everything in theme. Which, this is why I feel like Fate Foreseen kind of plays with this, because she has the orb there to predict futures and stuff, and you could have the Fate Foreseen with that as well. A lot of people get confused with this card. I'll just explain it with the red one here. So your opponent reveals their hand and you name that card, and then you have to choose a random card from their hand, and if you get that named card, you make a silver token. So this is my only way of being able to produce silver. But what's nice is this kind of helps you play with the sensors, and it can also help with the shakedown as well. But the thing that people get really confused about, so in the text here, it says choose a random card from their hand and reveal it, period. If it's a named card, create a silver token, period. So that happens first, it resolves, and afterwards it says repeat this process thrice, which is 3 more times. So a lot of people think it only happens 3 times, but technically it happens for 4. And yes, I've had more than one person check the ruling with that, and that is the result that I get each time. So I'm pretty confident that's the way it's played. So then we have 3, this round's on me. Just really helps if you need to draw a card for something. It also can hurt ninjas and mirror matchups. And it's a blue pitch for 3, so fits the theme, and it does, well, good things for you. And the last thing, I'm running 1 fire breathing. I don't know if I'll find uses for it. I just like that fits the theme. It blocks for 3. You can also pummel with it if you really have to. But I've been thinking of it mostly as a closer for once you dominate and flip with the Uzuri. If you have the resource to pump this enough to kill your opponent, you can do so. So that is the main deck. And then for the sideboard, because we gotta keep theme here, I have 3 smashing good times. So that really helps when you're in the mechanologist kind of situations, because it can also buff, which helps with a lot of your Promise of Plenties, plus that Codex of Blood Rot, and you can destroy items. I have done things where this was attached with a Meep, which can then destroy 2, and that's pretty good. And of course, we always have to worry about arcane damage, so I have the 3 Oasis Respites for that. And then, because like I was saying about the equipment, that doesn't mean a whole lot for my Uzuri build, I have 3 pieces of Null Runes, so you can Arcane Barrier for 3 as well. And then as far as like colors, I know I'm running about 18 blues, so when you are up against like a Kano, you're not going to have a terrible time. I gotten close to beating one, but I was still trying to learn the deck a little bit. So this is the build. I hope you all like the idea of it. Wasn't much of a competitive plan. It was just more of trying to keep theme as much as possible, but still having a playable deck that you can actually threaten to win. So in a general aspect, I think this is just a really good build for your opponents to kind of see what their deck is doing and seeing if it's actually running the way that it needs to. Because even though you're in theme, you have the core of the deck, which can present the threats that the main hero is normally presenting. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this build and the video today, and I will see you all next week. Take care.